Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to be doing some really fun techniques, including making our own ink pad out of baby wipes and using the MISTI, and we're going to be using our new really cool Elizabeth Simon Says Stamps background stamp. Love it. This is from my Jennifer McGuire haul. Love her. Love the things she sent me. And so what I thought I would do is, the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to make her thank you card. Don't tell her. We're going to make a thank you card, and I'm going to start out by stamping the word thanks that comes from this Fiskars thank you. It's upside down. The thank you set. I'm going to stamp that in the Mermaid Lagoon. If you haven't seen my video on the grid and how I made the grid, I have that. I can link that so you can see that. And after I stamp this with the Mermaid Lagoon, if I have to stamp it a few times, you know I don't care about that because I got a little water on my... I'm using watercolor paper, so it shouldn't be any big deal, but I don't like making a big mess if I can avoid it. I'm going to stamp this a couple times because I want to make sure that my impression is nice and bold, and I'm going to be using some clear embossing powder on it. Okay, let's stamp it one more time, and then I'm going to quickly, as soon as I stamp it, I'm going to try and get some embossing powder on it. Open up. I'm using Ranger clear embossing powder. Get all that out of the way. I want to have this all ready because in case this dries really quickly, and I don't want it to, but in case it does, I just want to make sure that I can get my image embossed really fast. I did forget to tell you that I ran my little embossing pouch over this, so my powder should only stick to what we want it to stick to. So let me heat set this, and I always warm up my gun before I start. And I'm going to line up on my 2-inch mark that I have on my own grid sheet. I'm going to move it in more on my 2-inch line and make it so my stamp is lined up everywhere. Let's see. This is the trickiest part about doing this project, I have to tell you. Okay, I think my head's out of the way. I'm going to close the door and I'm going to move it so I can hold it up and look. Okay, that is out of our way for right now because we're going to make our stamp pad next. Now, this is my way I think I'm going to have to do this. I think what I'm going to have to do is, I have it on an acetate background so it won't make a mess, around it. But what I want to do is I'm going to make my stamp pad right here and then stamp into it with this so that I get the ink on it, then pull it out. Does that make sense? I hope it did. We're going to use several distress re-inkers. I'm going to use Mermaid Lagoon, again, Abandoned Coral, Picked Raspberry, and the Fossilized Amber. I know these two will mix and make green, so that gives us a different color. And then these two, I'm not sure what they will do, but in the meantime, we'll find out, right? So we're going to put a few drops here and there. I mean, our goal is to make little drops of it kind of all over, but still stay on our background if we can. If I can. That's the tricky part for me. And I'm going to make sure when I do this that I try to cover the spots in between with spots of re-inker so that every like when I move this around, and I'm going to have to stamp it probably a couple times to end up with my image completely covered. It's pretty so far. It looks like the 60s. Looks like some tie-dyed or, you know, something psychedelic. And this is the fossilized amber, if I didn't say that already, and I don't think I did. Let's see if I get one more spot. Don't forget to put this on something that will absorb it as a background. I have 4 layers of baby wipe in there. So, you know, just so you know, I've got a lot of baby wipe down under there. I just want to make sure that my spots where I don't have filled, that I end up with a little bit of filler. Cross your fingers. This is the moment of truth. I'm not pushing hard. I'm just pushing hard enough that I can make sure my stamp is in that ink pad. Okay, we're going to give this a shot and see what we get. Our stamp isn't moving, but definitely everything underneath, you know, the ink's colors are changing as I go. That's really cool looking. Really cool. So the last thing I think I'm going to do, I'm really liking the way it looks, but the last thing I think I want to do is I'm going to go around the outer edge of our stamp with this Mermaid Lagoon and kind of make the outside crisp blue, hopefully. Don't my hands look pretty? Everything I told you not to do, I did, because why wouldn't I? It's just the way I roll. And besides, who has prettier hands than that? I mean, come on. That's gorgeous. That's like free manicure, free, I don't know what you call it. It's just great. I like that blue around the outside edge, and I like how it fades into nothingness around everything else. I think I'm living with it. What do you guys think? Good enough? Now let's look at what we're going to do to the inside. So I thought what I would do is kind of go around some of these spots with putting some of the reinker on something that would transfer. So I'm just kind of dabbing it onto the stamp in different places and hoping that I'll get a mix of color that I like. Let's try another one, shall we? Let's go with that orange. And hopefully, ooh, that is much brighter. I kind of dig it. Now all we need to do is get just around this outer edge. I think I'm going back to the blue. I think that the homemade ink pad, I think my fail was the fact that I used Distress inks. I'm almost positive it should have been like a Stampin' Up! Reinker, but you know, these are the mistakes I make along the way. And it didn't even occur to me that I would, you know, that would be something that I should have remembered. But that's me, you know, I'm just that kind of girl where I forget stuff. And then I'm going to go back to the center and do the picked raspberry again. In the end, I'm happy with this, I think. We've got a lot of different colors working they're all working with each other and creating different colors, and I think we only have a couple spots where it's turning to mud, but for the most part it looks pretty cool. Look at all the ink I have down here. I could do a whole different drawing just with that. I'm thinking I might use some of that and do my background color with. I'm going to pick some of it up with my sponge though, because I have a ton of this blue on the outside edge. I like the blue. So I thought what I would do is take a little bit of water. I'm going to spray it on my acetate, just a little bit, and I'm going to wet my brush with it. And then I thought what I would do is just go around these edges where it's white and kind of blend the ink in there a little bit, reactivate it. Since it's water reactive, these distress inks should blend out so that I get the colors that I want in the background, and it should make it so that it's I don't want it to be so stark with the white. I just want the background to have more color in it, and I thought this was a good way of doing it, and I really like playing with watercolors. And this is watercolor paper, I forgot to tell you that. It's a 140-pound Fabriano Hot Press. I think it looks good. I'm happy with it. The background that's blue is kind of splotchy, and that's okay. I mean, that's what watercolors look like. Let's do the inside of the card, and we'll call this one done. Okay, I'm going to use the same Mermaid Lagoon on my sentiment. That I'm just going to use my little dauber that I had all that ink on. It ought to work okay. If it doesn't, go to plan B. So that is from the same stamp set as our stamp on the front. Alright, so this is the outside of our card. And we're going to be putting that like that. And we're going to put that up on foam tape, so it's going to be higher. So I want to go around the outside with my ink pad. I'm just going to make sure that this outside matches the inside, basically. Dry it real quick. Alright, so that's our background, and this is going to be laying on top of it, so we'll put some tear tape, foam tape. We've got it all covered with foam tape now. All we have to do is line it up. Make sure we have it so that it's centered. And there you have it. Using up my new stamp that Jennifer McGuire got me, and a fun thank you note to send her. And it looks cool with those little splotches. I think I might put a few splotches over there. Okay, so I have this little wee palette of water that I've put some of the fossilized amber in, and you want to get your brush nice and juicy with it. And because my background is that color, I'm not going to worry about that, but I am going to hold my card down because I don't want it to open up and get splotches on the back. So hopefully, let me hold it up so you can see them while they're wet. That's what they look like. And then when they dry, they'll dry kind of a green color, which is cool. I think all in all, I'm really happy with my card. I hope you are too. And I hope you'll give it a try. If you do try the first technique, please don't use the distress inks. That was my mistake. I apologize for that. I should not have done that. But as in all things, I think you learn a lot more from my videos because I make so many really stupid mistakes. So I really appreciate you bearing with me through this long process, and I hope you'll give this a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell your friends about me. I really appreciate it, and thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.